Yeah, I've just gotten to the point where I leave when I encounter these intolerables, and yeah, it's gonna get to a point where I'm just not gonna be around because it like the level of moral depravity, like I,
Trump has made it comfortable for them to speak the unspeakable. They feel very comfortable because there's no consequences to them. They're loud. They don't care because they know Trump wants cover.
but it's not just Trump; it's people too, right? Because they not just standing outside yelling to themselves; they are talking to people.
Yeah, but I would put to you that most of them, I would put to you that most of them probably several years ago would not feel comfortable espousing those vows. What I'm saying is the atmosphere has allowed them to reveal their true thoughts that maybe they always had, but the environment or the community would not have tolerated it the way, you guys see what I'm trying to say, the way it is now.
I understand what you're trying to say. I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is very clear. I guess my point is, to me, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
Nothing. I kind of have a cold, so not feeling the best, but I'm gonna go to the gym soon. What are you doing?
At some time, I'm down to 199, buddy.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm sitting slim, bro.
Oh, you gotta eat right, exercise.
And then some need some push-ups and jump rope and some yoga. Supposed to record a podcast. Dude, I had a New York Times reporter on there. She's amazing.
Really?
She writes the Believing Project. It was all about like American religious life and trends, the spiritual and religious. She's amazing, man. Pretty hot too.
Ooh.
Yeah, she's smoking hot.
Why don't you got this fireside thing. I mean, what is it on Spotify? Is it on YouTube? Is it on... Can you also reskin it? Change the video of just like available? You gotta make live reviews.
Riverside, a lot. You know what's interesting? If you go look at the show notes for my last two podcasts, Riverside generated them with AI. Like, as soon as I was done, it listened to the whole podcast instantly and generated my show notes and chat tokens and stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, and Riverside's amazing. It's really, I switched over there from StreamYard. It's a great platform. It is so great. And also, I mean, I need to spend like 2 days with it. I could do all the stuff you're talking about. I could break clips up. I can do repack it. I can do all kinds of stuff. I just haven't spent time with that. I just switched providers like 2 weeks ago.
Mm. Well, you're doing great work, man. I mean, I think
I'll try, buddy. Thank you.
it's like Uncle Steve. It's like he's fucking wasting his time. You know, it's like he doesn't have any deliverables. He's got no product. It's just like all siloed in fucking clown house. It's like, dude, you're
Yeah,
fucking
I use
wasting your
Clubhouse
time.
for entertainment. I don't. I find Clubhouse entertainment. I don't get. They've experimented with when there's a podcasting platform that I don't like it at all.
Yeah, but how much entertainment do you need till you realize that like I should be feeling serious with what's I don't know, just think about all the movies you watch. It's like, you're not gonna go back and watch it again. You're not gonna watch Terminator 2 10 times. So Clownhouse is the same kind of thing. It's like watching Terminator 2 1,000 times. How much entertainment is enough entertainment? Meaning that like you can put like they haven't taken me out. I don't know why. People are finding these cars. I just love how like people. It's kind of fun to shoot these little clips of videos where just like all of these things in something else. I don't know, man. I'm from like a military background. I feel like if this country is as good as it is, it's like I don't know. Who knows what life will be like in 10 years? I'm not worried about it. Yeah, but then that means people vote tribal. And the fact is, like, these Congress people kind of go through stuff all this mess. It's like these Congress people bring back nothing. Nothing. They don't do the bridge, they don't do funding for anything local. It's all just lobbyist love. So when you think that people are voting for programs and projects, it's like they're voting for radio, road, fires from the Colonel J and J fund. But they're literally getting nothing out of their fucking congressmen. So I don't know, that's my message. That mass heater is really, I don't know, I'll send you the link. It really shines a lot of transparency on Congress and their behavior and just how so well people hate him. I mean, so everything Trump can flip out of it in a heartbeat. And then Nancy posts, it's like, oh, Trump hates people. This is his letter of endorsement. Just be very wrong.
I think the general is this populist versus traditionalist sort of side Reaganite GOP, right? And like, I listen to Steve Bannon's podcast. Like, I think Bannon's great, and you know, but he's not for some of the stuff like in the big, you know, he's not for cutting Medicaid and stuff. But see, that's the thing, and are the populists are against the Iran stuff, like they're against, you know, it's just very interesting to see how Trump negotiates all that.
Well, people can criticize welfare queens, but when you're a medical industrial complex business and you're a doctor and you're submitting all this false billing, like that's the real waste in the system. It's not the recipient.
That's what I said to him. I was like, there's no such thing as a Medicaid thing. You let's say you make too much money to be on Medicaid, right? Let's say you make 50 or 60 grand, right, or whatever, you shouldn't be on Medicaid. You're still not costing that much to the system. What are you going to do? You pay 60 for a course.
I know most people are just completely, I don't know, like, I have recorded so much Clubhouse that if you go and you listen to anything I've recorded, you realize how stupid everybody is and how delusional they are because it's like, I don't know, the value of the dollar is completely degraded. Like, we've gone the opposite course as a nation, you know, in terms of what we should have done. Like, there's a lot of European countries that are not in our position and are very well off, like Norway, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Germany. I mean, it's better than
I don't know. There's a lot of dissatisfied Germans. Like, the immigration issue is a big issue for Germans. They're like, what happened to our country? And like, I see.
Yeah, the immigration thing is, and I would say the problem with the German immigrant, the advantage we have with our undocumented people is they at least like America, right? They're Christians. They're coming from the global south. They're not Muslims. They're like, that's what I mean, that's it. The European immigration problem is a big one because they're people that hate their culture and they're bringing them in.
This is the funniest thing to me is that, like, people, you know, like, you could listen to Pepe and all these other rooms where they shit on Muslims all day long. But the funniest thing to me about, you know, very conservative or strict Islamists is that they're super conservative. They don't, you know, they don't believe in any of this LGBTQ stuff.
All right, exactly.
Plus, they're polygamists. Like, it's actually, you know, from like an alpha male perspective, like, this is why Andrew Tate is a Muslim, because it is alpha male, and it's completely against our Western system. But our Western system in itself is a problem. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just saying, it's just amazing observing people communicate. Like, right now, I'm listening to Politically Correct. With Patty and First Lady and the Doctor and all these people. And,
Yeah, Black Room, right?
yeah, and it's just so low IQ, and they can barely put together a show and string it along because it's just bad take after bad take after bad take. At least Uncle Steve has alternative positions and contrarian positions where it's an actual conversation.
That's what I like about Gary's room and Steve's room is neither of them are echo chambers, right?
Right.
You come on there and you can have a dialogue, you can voice the setting. There's no party line of the show, which I like, right? I mean, this is what I find about Ben Mendelsohn's room. I think that room is so low IQ. It's a left-wing low IQ echo chamber. That's why I really stopped going. Like, I can't stand it.
What I don't understand is where do these people think the money comes from? Like, it's supposed to come. All this funding is supposed to come out of our income taxes. It's supposed to come out of all these taxes that we're supposed to pay in, but the whole economy is 40% borrowed. So it's like nobody is aware of essentially the financial catastrophe that we are living in.
And, you know, Obama had that Simpson Bowles Commission, right, where the blue ribbon commission on the deficit. And they made a bunch of, you know, one of the co-chairs, Republican and Democrat, and they made they laid out a pathway to deal with this stuff, and they just put it in a drawer. Everybody ignored it. Because nobody wants to deal with deficit. You know, it is a catastrophizing thing, but just nobody wants to deal with it until we're forced to. It's like crashes down around us.
You know, all these corporations, they don't pay any tax on their profit. It's like, okay, well, if they start taxing Google and Microsoft at a fair and just rate, okay, well, then you can see like 40% of their stock deteriorate. So the whole system really is organized for the investor, or for, you know, the ultra elite rich, the top 1%, because it's all, if we were to actually tax these corporations,
I don't know, it's just so, like, I saw somebody post on X the other day. It's like the first governor that restricts property taxes will be a national hero. Like, is there not one fucking state in the country that can say, guess what, everybody? We are outlawing and disallowing property taxes in this state. Like that, like, we've become so conditioned to this property tax that, like, we need breakaway states to say enough is enough. We can make it work without property taxes, and then that
Yeah.
state will boom. People will flock there and build huge developments. Um, so there's a lot of ways to game the system, but we have to have people willing to game the system instead of just like doing the status quo. We need breakaway leaders that can innovate and bring a fresh perspective to the situation. But anyways, I mean, yeah, guys like Dr. James, it's like,
Cocksucker.
damn. I mean, it's amazing how if somebody introduces one concept or one topic, that topic will never stop being talked about. Like if you bring up AI, like how he brought up I built this blog and it was fucking groundbreaking so quick. It's like that dominated the conversation, So it's like it's interesting how you can put in one comment and that comment determines the rest of all future conversation. I don't know. There's something about that in terms of like communication where you can literally go into a room and bring up a topic and it will dominate all future communication. So, anyways. Well, I was reading Thomas Jefferson yesterday, and
Nice.
I don't know, like in the Declaration, he claims that the king was doing like barbaric acts to the people, to the
Yeah, the
peoples.
stuff they edited out.
They took things out of the Declaration that were.
Oh yeah. They took stuff out. Yeah, I mean that what we have is the edited version. The stuff that you should read the first draft, the earlier draft that Jefferson wrote. I mean, they toned it down.
Hmm. I wonder, like, what the actual crimes against humanity were and how much, and like, was this just like the piggy bank for people overseas to come here, root and rob and loot and cause chaos for people here?
Well, one of the times what I've read from this period is that, like, basically, the taxation without representation stuff, it was so frustrating because we were subsidizing the other sort of nation, but the other global escapades, right, in Asia, other parts of the world. By the beginning of the 20th century, the British Empire ruled 1 in 4 people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 4 world citizens, were citizens of the British Empire. So, the colonists were just sick of, like, you're doing shit in India and shit, we're paying for it. You're raising taxes on us to pay for all the shit that we don't want to do.
Right.
I mean, the empire's expensive.
Well, I mean, what do you think about like this national missile defense system? Like, people are like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'm fully supporting it." I'm like, "Are you fucking stupid? Like,
We don't need a national
are
missile
you
defense.
fucking stupid? Like, this is just a giveaway for a big military industrial complex." I mean, I really believe that, like, there's this Highland Park massacre where this piece of shit murdered all these people at like a 4th of July parade. And in the comments on Instagram, Pritzker's like issues this lengthy, remembrance video. I'm just like, if the people of the town were serious, they would arm capable people and provide them with training on small arms fire to take out other future terrorists and the prior terrorists. It's like, we're just a completely pussified group of people. Like, we aren't armed, we don't know how to defend ourselves, we live amongst criminals that murder us, and it's like, we can't even go get a gun to defend ourselves. I mean, there's a 42-year-old veteran on the train near my house got murdered by a black guy with a knife like a week ago. A veteran, It's just like random. It's like, we have to be armed and take out the people that are about to kill us. Like, and I'm not being, paranoid. I'm just thinking, like, we live in clown world, and, Clubhouse is a perfect example of people who live in a delusional reality and just
Absolutely.
project their political sentiment. and it's it's this echo chamber. It's like this isn't what America was like in the 20s, 30s, 40s. I mean, shit has gone downhill substantially. I mean, substantially, and it's like you could say the country was racist in the 20s and 30s, and now it's less racist. But I went into a room today, and they're claiming that white people are the closest thing to Satan, the closest thing to the devil. I'm like, holy shit! Could you imagine if white people had a room and they were saying black people were
Oh my
the
God.
closest thing to the devil?
Immediately.
So, yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a double standard, and it's sick. I don't know. There's just a lot of therapy work that needs to get done, and it's never going to happen. There's a lot of education that will never ever happen for a lot of people. So I don't know. To me, it all just seems like a common sense approach to being fiscally responsible. You can't have an actual successful civilization and society if you're not financially responsible. Like, I can't afford to pay my boat slip.
But empire, this is what happens to empires, though, right? They spend themselves into oblivion because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Empire's deficit spend, man. I mean, we're a non-traditional empire because we don't have like colonies per se, right? But we just have bases everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And it's just expensive. It's expensive to be the world's policeman. It's expensive to subsidize the entire free world. It's just, and this isn't like an anti-American rate or anything. I think we've done. I think our influence has done massive good for the world. But you're right. You can't afford that forever.
I mean, why we are even in the position that we're in now blows my mind. Like, what were we thinking with creating all this debt? And I don't know. The part of me is like, maybe it doesn't really matter because it's all fake anyways. Like, it's not gold, it's not silver. There's no back end to this shit. And the rest of the world is also operating off of fiat currency. And so if we do currency manipulation, it's really to the detriment of a lot of international investment. And you talk to the Japanese or the Chinese, they're like, yeah, we hate all your debt because that makes your government bigger and that makes our investments less valuable. So, like, maybe the big beautiful bill is basically like a big fuck you to the rest of the world, and it's like, actually, if we didn't pass it, we would have more problems. But maybe there would be like debt reconciliation, in the future, where countries and the Federal Reserve decide to just like delete the debt and say, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. It only shows up in inflation, but we're not actually you're not gonna have to repay it because we've compromised, and because you can't repay it unless you create more debt. Like, you can't pay debt by creating more debt. I mean,
Yeah.
so, but that's what we're doing. Like, if the national interest is over $1 trillion a year, and we're already spending $1 trillion on the military-industrial complex, and $2 to $4 trillion on Medicare, Medicaid, and $1 trillion on Social Security, it's like, well, the rest of the world just has to eat it, But, like, I can't afford to pay my boat slip, and so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to abandon the ship, and just leave it there and let them deal with it. And they're going to have to auction it off, and they're going to have to sue me or send me to a debt collector. But I already have debt collectors up my ass. So if that's what happens in bankruptcy, where you just abandon ship because you can't afford to pay for it anymore, like, the countries, and America in particular, have that special advantage that the individual does not have. Like, the Congress isn't going away. The Senate, all the Federal Reserve, and these relationships, they're not going away. Like, the only way that this debt ship implodes is if Washington, D.C. gets invaded. And that's not going to happen because it's just not. So, like, it's easy to criticize it for political reasons, but we're still in a great position to keep the game going because, like, look at Britain. I mean, like you said, 1 out of 4 people. Like, we're not in that position. I mean, people can't even believe that this immigration or ICE and all the deportations are taking place because they're just like, I can't believe this. Like, we're actually arresting illegal aliens and deporting them, at scale now, supposedly, and it's even going to ramp up. Like, that could be really bad for the economy. I mean, if all these businesses don't have the cheap labor or just the labor in general, Like, there's just all these unintended consequences. Like, in my opinion, we should probably do nothing. You know, doing less is more, and stop taxing us and reallocate the money back to us, we the people, as opposed to all of these foreign lobbyists. Anyways, it is what it is. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
Never man, buddy. You know what Jane told me? Jane's like, I wonder if I should fix giving up with my daughter. Her daughter's really good.
Oh wow.
Her daughter's like 27.
Oh my god. Well, I'm 42. I'm probably too old for a 27-year-old at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't have a career. Filming Clubhouse Conversations is hardly considered a career. I mean, what kind of a
You're a public servant, dude. You're a public servant. Like I said he's a public servant for Clubhouse. I
can't get any press. You know, the coolest thing is, it's like, if I ever get any press for running this congressional campaign, they're gonna say, you know, if they pull up all my YouTubes and they're like, what is all this? These are thousands of conversations on Clubhouse. I'm like, well, I've been doing research on what people are talking about.
On the electorate, you're getting to know the people.
There's a reason why people keep voting for bad leaders. It's because they themselves are stupid, and that's why they keep voting for shit people. I mean, and most of these shit people that they're voting for can't actually accurately describe the situation, and it's all just political rhetoric for more free shit and more borrowing. I mean, the Green New Deal and all that shit. Like, the fact that AOC has political power in our government blows my fucking mind. It's like, she's cute and hot, but are there no better people to run for office against her? Is there nobody with exceptional virtue and character that can defeat this fucking lying little fucking traitor? Like, it just blows my mind. I mean, and Mamdani and all these people, like, we've been overrun. I mean, there's a point where, you know, it becomes like a Pepe conversation. It's like, I think the people in Europe are eventually going to have, there's going to be an attack, you know, against the Muslims, and there's going to be incredible civil unrest. It's like, you know, I don't believe that, because we've been overrun too much. I could go to the park right now. Nobody speaks English. We've already let the floodgates open. It's been going on for 30 years or more. I mean, probably from the fucking 70s and 80s. I mean, I don't know. We could have had it so sweet. You know, this country could literally, you could be born with $500,000 in the bank. Instead, you're born with, you know, $500,000 in debt. So, fuck, man. I mean, we have not, this country and the people leading it for 50 years have not been financially responsible. And 9/11, I think, was the cherry on top with George Bush.
Oh, yeah.
That was the big...
People have to choose between liberty and security. That's Franklin said, right? They always choose security. Right? No, Franklin said it. They deserve, if they choose security over liberty, they deserve neither. But, yeah, I mean, that 9/11, yeah. I mean, Rand Paul is one of the few people that stood up to a lot of that shit.
Yeah, Ron Paul too. I mean, he ran for
Ron
president.
Paul too, yeah.
The thing is, Ron Paul didn't have the gusto of Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump's zingers and his personality, he's like Uncle Sam. And Ron Paul was like his grandfather. But Ron Paul just didn't have the strength to destroy people who should be destroyed. Like, when Trump said, yeah, because you'd be in prison, everybody's like, fucking A, this bitch should be in prison. You know, she's doing all kinds of fucking bullshit. Totally unconstitutional. Totally, you know, illegitimate. Insane shit. People just don't know how to sit in a room and be quiet and mind their fucking business. Like, everything we're doing is so internationally focused. It's like, when is enough enough? Like, nobody's voting for this shit. Nobody wants this shit. It's like, we want to keep our money. And we already know we're broke, so I don't know what the solution is. I just feel like if you can't, the only solution is to try to accurately describe it. Because there is no solution.
I think description is a pretty powerful thing. I think description is actually more powerful than prescription. I think thick description is a powerful tool.
Well, what do you think about what Uncle Steve says? There's a difference between opinions and facts. And when I don't have the facts, I give my opinion. And if my opinion is wrong because you give me the fact, well, then I stand corrected. It's like, is that just ego? It must just be ego and character and personality speaking. Because it's like, he's kind of a hypocrite. I mean, doesn't he call himself a fiscal conservative?
He does.
California is the pit hole. I mean, have you seen the civil unrest in the streets with the Marines and the National Guard deployed and all the protesters?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
They're literally armed with automatic rifles against people in the streets. It's like, why the fuck are you carrying a rifle? It's like, shouldn't you have non-lethal weapons, and shouldn't you be deploying them? Shouldn't you actually be pushing these people out and arresting them if they're taunting you? We let so much shit just slide by. It's like, no, now you're being arrested and you're being detained and you're going to have to get a lawyer, and congratulations, welcome to your new life. It's going to suck, I mean, I think we need massive arrests. I mean, Jews are being attacked in every major city. In Melbourne, they just burned down a synagogue, attacked a Jewish restaurant. It's like, stop being politically correct with these people and start arresting them, detain them, and even deport them. Like, if you're involved in this type of criminal activity, it's not going to be tolerated because it's politically correct anymore. I mean, Trump really, when Trump didn't win the second time, I felt like he needed the 2 terms to truly MAGA the nation. Like, people are calling Trump like a founding father now, because in many ways he's like going back to our foundation. But if he doesn't actually shut down a lot of these political resistance movements, which are just really just political in nature, and many of them are violent. I mean, but again, I don't even know if we have the muscle power to do it. I don't even think we have the muscle power. When the first ICE agent dies and is murdered in an apprehension, like, he should get a state funeral. That person should be on TV and be glorified as a state hero. Because, I mean, what is the point of all of this if we just let people live amongst us that are actually not citizens? I don't know. I think this is like a decisive moment in American history. It's like, enough is enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the next 4 years, 3 years is like, I mean, people like AOC, Mamdani, the Squad, Ilhan Omar. I mean, if Ilhan Omar committed a crime and actually married her brother, well, then arrest her and bring charges against her. What is the State Department? I mean, what's the DOJ doing? What are they gonna Are they gonna do anything? Are we gonna see anybody for the RussiaGate scandal get arrested for trying to subvert, our government and the will of the people? Like, if Trump actually doesn't go authoritarian and make dramatic arrests, I don't know. Like, maybe the whole thing is all just about money, and that's really what it's all about. Because Trump doesn't have 2 shits to worry about. He's gonna leave office and he'll be richer than he's ever been. So maybe it is all about his family, his legacy, his money, his security, and not like the actual average American who's getting fucked over every single day by the past 50 years in policy. So, and I don't want to be an extremist, but I feel like we are in a situation now where if we're not extremist in response, there's no way to go back on what has happened to the country. So, I don't know, those are my opinions. Not facts. Alright, we'll have a... Yeah.
You're a force to be reckoned with on the app.
So are you. I mean, but it's a fucking joke. Like, I read a book last night, and I read a book for like 2 hours last night, and I recorded Matt Cool's room, like a MAGA room with Pepe, where he's, getting in fights with black people. And Pepe was on the app for like 12 hours yesterday talking, maybe 18 hours talking, non-stop. And I'm just like, I cannot believe that people will give up their whole life to talking on this app. And I pick up a book, and the joy and the knowledge I gain from 2 hours of reading compared to like actually listening to somebody on this app speak, you realize that there is absolutely no reason to spend any time listening to anybody on this app. It's so stupid. Like you said, it's entertainment. But the thing is, like, at least I'm packaging it or I'm trying to. Like, otherwise, like, this is an insane asylum, you know, for low IQ people who can't figure out what they're doing. Like, look at Dr. James. Imagine going to Dr. James for psychological treatment. Like, he's crazier than the people who go to him.
I can't stand that guy, dude. I can't stand that guy. He's like my least favorite person on the app.
There's
He
a
just sounds like just prick.
There's a lot of people like him in this world. I mean, I've dealt with psychiatrists, I've dealt with psychologists. Some of them have good information to share, but most of them, they can't actually help you because they can't read the book and put it in your brain. You've got to read and become educated if you are having psychological problems. I mean, there's a lot of information to contend with, and like if you don't have the IQ or the comprehension, like you're not going to get the therapy you need by talking to Dr. James. I don't know. There's just a lot of charlatans. There's a lot of fake ass people out there that they don't really give a fuck about you. It's all just about their livelihood.
Yeah, that's bullshit, buddy. Well, I'm gonna do my push-ups. I'm gonna do some yoga.
Are you doing not free weights, but machine weights?
No, dumbbells. I'm doing this for, you know, the Beachbody programs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Shanti has this new program I started recommending called Dig Deeper, and it's not it. It's circuit training. It's amazing. So I'm doing that. It's a 5-day-a-week program, and then Saturday and Sundays I just just do push-ups and jump rope and some yoga, and then Sundays I just jump a little rope and do some yoga.
You know, the circuit machines, like I go to, like those machines are really tuned to like specific areas of the body, and
Yeah.
but yeah, mixing that with free weights is like a full 360. But I really like going around the gym and using all the machines because it like forces a specific movement, and it's just like it dumbs it down for you. You don't have to think about anything. Just like go to this machine, go to that machine, go to this
That's
machine.
what I think about this program. I just follow it. You know, like it's just, you know, 5 days a week, different weight routines. You know, it's great.
What do you think about girls that don't give you their number prior to a date and they say, I only give the number after the date?
I think it's fucked up.
I find that to be very annoying, you know?
I hate it. I hate it.
Because
And
that,
if you're concerned about privacy, just get a Google Voice number. Who cares?
well, I've just had very bad outcomes with women that don't share their telephone number. It's almost like you are an experience for them and not an actual person, and
Yeah, I
they're,
think it's bullshit. I think it's fucking bullshit.
yeah. I was gonna go on a date this afternoon with this girl, and then I have a cold, so I canceled on her. I said, by the way, do you exchange telephone numbers prior to the date? She's like, no. I've had too many issues with people figuring too much out about me prior to the date.
Oh, fuck that.
I mean, she's highly neurotic. Like, just like I can't stand women that like demand a schedule or demand, you know, like I don't do anything impromptu. It has to be scheduled in advance. It's like, okay. I don't think there's a reason why you're single. It's because you can't be impromptu. It's because if you're so highly scheduled, I don't know. To me, it's like dating is, I don't know. It's like when I was younger, it was maybe more focused on like finding a match and getting married. But now it's kind of just like avoiding people who are very obnoxious, highly neurotic. And when a lot of these women who in their profiles they say, if you voted Trump, we are not a match. Immediately
Yeah,
a match.
I hate that. I don't like that ideological sort of dating, but I don't know.
I think there's not a lot of hope for a lot of people because they are so polarized that they're undateable. You can't be in a relationship with somebody who can't stop their polarization and just say, hey, I'm just me. Like, can we just have a breakfast and not be, you know, polarized? It's like, I don't know. There's just a lot of people who, you know, and because you're on this app and there are so many political conversations, in the real world, I don't want to have political conversations, you know, because this is like work. For me, this is like work. And if I'm going to be with somebody who wants to have clubhouse conversations in the real world, I'm just like, yeah, this isn't going to work because I don't want to talk to you about this shit because I do this all day long. It's like, if you want to talk about this shit, maybe you should download Clubhouse. I can talk to you there about it. But in the real world, I'm not interested in talking to you about any of this stuff. But I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, is it a me problem? Or is it a you problem? It's got to be a combination of both. But, anyways, all right. Well, have a great day. It's good chatting with you.
You're my man, buddy. You are my freaking man, buddy.
I think you're doing great work. Don't stop. I think you're going to have some success doing what you're doing.
The feeling's mutual, buddy.
Thanks.
You're a public servant.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be. Okay, take care. Bye.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Is proposed before it was actually passed, right? So while the GOP, those that were coming out against it have now voted for it, right? They were out there all against it, and no matter, that wasn't the hill they were going to die on. They were going to fight that, and then they voted for it, right? Because Trump made whatever negotiations he made, the bottom line, they voted for it, just like Murkowski, right? So knowing that it's not, so the polls are suggesting or showing that now that it's passed, and Donald Trump is saying, don't believe that, it's not going to be this and it's not going to be that, and Michael Johnson and those same people are now going to be listening to that. It's the Democrats' messaging is going to be even more impactful, or needs to be. I mean, I don't know that it's going to make that much of an impact because it's not going to literally take effect until after the election, right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's what the polls suggest right now. Republicans are against. Americans, that percentage against it. That's today, before the bill was actually passed. So now, when they turn on the TV and they're repeating what Trump is saying again, which is a lie, but that's what they do. They believe the lies. We're still talking about the cult, right? And so that's what I'm talking about, the reality of that. So, Deborah, I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier, and I wrote it in the chat. I think the people who are the so-called Democrats, and that goes from people on this app to people in the media to people on social media, they should spend their time critiquing the GOP as messaging instead of evaluating the ineffectiveness and how Democrats could do better. Because that is part of the messaging ether too. You can't have your people out here, criticizing you with no equal, right, critique of the people that are causing the harm. All of this stuff that happens with the critiquing of the Democrats, like I said in the chat, I think it's a way for the liberals to seem like they're smart or like that they're fair. We critique our people. The GOP, they never critique their people. Okay, that's a virtue. But what good is it doing? It's not, because you're filling the conversation and discourse ether with all of that stuff about how the Democrats aren't doing anything. And people need need to pressure the people who are also in the media to get them to stop repeating the Republican talking points, the GOP strategy, and the Trump commentary on what the Democrats are doing, what they're not doing, what the Democrats did before, and all of that. So I think people power is the place to start, like with the message.
100%. That's what I was trying to get us to see. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. We gotta stop talking about what we're not doing. Because we're doing everything we can as Democrats, or they're doing all they can. So I agree with you. And thanks for that, Aurora. Thank you.
I do agree, and I appreciate what this conversation between Dr. A.G. and Deborah. I think we also have to ask people why. Why were people so drawn to vote for people who are so extreme, who said exactly what they were going to do, and they're not surprised by any of it, and all of it has to do with harm. Because I want them to admit, and they have, I guess, on stages. Maybe I'm just like, there's never going to be accountability for them, and I keep wanting it, but it's never going to happen.
Well, you can see it on TikTok. It's funny. It's like, okay, these people, the Congress people swore, I'm not going to vote for anything with Medicaid because I'm not going to do anything that will hurt our rural hospitals. I'm not going to do So they just straight lied. But instead of it being commentary about that, it's, the Democrats are feeling right, and none of these things are going to happen.
Yeah, they're also focused enormously on no taxes on tips, which is not true. It's a deduction up to a limit, and no taxes on Social Security, which is not true. And some other, and overtime. Yeah, exactly. That's what they're hanging their hats on, and most people don't read. They don't know the fine points.
People pay on too. Like, how much money even if it's true, how much money is that put back in your pocket?
And it's a limit. I think it's up to 20. I think it's a deduction, though. I think it's a deduction. Yeah, but I don't think it's actually a tax. No taxes. I think it's a deduction up to a limit.
You're saying, but I'm just saying, like, they got no tax on tips. Like, they were, any tax on tips now, and they're now not going to. How much money would we be even talking about for, full-time server, average, we're not talking about a significant amount of money.
I'm just curious if there's a significant amount of money.
I emphasize again.
How much are we talking about?
I don't think so.
I trust your opinion. How much is that?
A server at our hotel, a good server, not a great server, a good server probably makes $85K, right? So they're probably going to make another $2,500 a year because of that.
Okay, but that's in the Bay Area. Like, that's the highest.
No, that's true. That's true. I'm just telling you what I know. You're right.
Talking about the average server.
Yeah, but I think with the average server, if it's more than $1,000, I would really be surprised, Brian.
People don't claim their tips. Usually the tips are on credit cards, so this isn't like nice.
We're robbing ourselves 5
They
years
did
from
this
now.
on purpose.
Getting that
So
close.
it's
I
like
heard you
this
talk about
sounds
each other
good,
national
but in
dinner.
reality,
Okay, I've heard you talk a
people
lot about it. I
like
see you got your
don't really claim their tips because that's how you make their money. That's like take home change. Just so people get taxed on what they pay. And I know in Georgia, the base the core server is like $213. So I don't think that's even enough to get taxed. So what people do usually is they just don't pay taxes because they don't get taxed for that amount of money. I don't think
When people
that's.
do on the credit card, they do have to claim those.
Yeah, but you have to, you air quotes, you have to claim them. But They can, but it's usually not enough money to like for for the IRS to waste their time on. Yeah, so it's like it's just something to say. It's like they're going something.
Most ways
You can, but they're not gonna come after you for like. I mean, they may, but they will have to have a lot of time in their hand to come after every server who's not claiming tips.
I know.
Which is why in the restaurant industry now, they're discouraging people. Like, and if you ask your server, they'll tell you on the slip. They discourage you from putting it on the credit card. They would rather you give them the tips in cash, because a lot of restaurants, they calculate the tips. And then some of those people, they'll get like a tax paper that says this is how much you were paid, because they roll it in to their pay. And you're correct, like it's not, like Sunny is right, like for the average server, it's not that much money. So this is a sort of gratuitous thing. And then the other thing is, what percentage of the people work on tips and work overtime? Like, who are they really helping with this good favor?
Rich people. Most servers and hairdressers I know, they underreport. They underreport. They absolutely. They will come back to us.
And they're on Medicaid.
Yeah, they underreport. 1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute. They underreport, and most of them, like on PGC, will rather that you pay them in cash, which I try to do. But my other point is, what percentage of them are also on SNAP or Medicaid or some type of social services? So whatever they make, does that justify what they're going to lose with all of these other programs?
Right.
So that type of move was a great publicity stunt so that they could get favor from some of the unions, because some of the unions did support the big bill.
Yeah, I mean the union, those folks have health insurance, so.
As a person who makes overtime, I don't get any of that stupid ass benefit because there's income limits, and I think you have to file it on your tax in order to get like a tax break. It's not really me making overtime and not getting paid for my paycheck.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are deductions and not straight amounts of your tax bill. And then one other thing, these phase out in 2028,
Can I
where
just
the
ask
billionaire.
a question right there before you go to your next one? So what difference does it make? So you said it's not a straight out tax break, it's a deduction. Like what's?
Yeah, it's almost like what they did with the EV tax.
Hold on, Ty. Let me just ask a question, please, sir. I'm trying to think my way through it. Shit. Okay, hold on. Give me a minute.
Not me. Not my
Okay, I got it back. Because I think about I get a tax break for certain things I do, like at my job, like all the shit I buy. If I buy a computer, whatever. But in order to get that break, I have to file it through my Schedule C. So what's the difference in what you're saying with the tips and all that? Like, what's the difference? How is the tax break and the tax deduction even? Yeah, can you clarify that? I'm confused on that.
I think, so I'm gonna try to, let me clear my thoughts. I think, let's say for instance you make 20, I don't know, let's say 20,000 in tips. And let's say it was a straight off, right off, right? Then you do say, let's say they give you a certain percentage or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever. So let's say it's 10,000. They said tips allowable. You're not going to be able to, as a credit or what have you. You're not going to be the credit. So then your income would be 10,000, as opposed to let's say after a certain amount, it's just it's just a standard deduction or what have you. I think it works out better. Go ahead.
So you're saying how would my income be reduced? Because when I do my Schedule C and I get that amount, right? They take that amount and they subtract it from the salary that's in box 1 on my W-2, and they say now this is your adjusted taxable income. And so then they calculate the taxes I owe the feds. They calculate it based on that adjustment. But you're saying something different?
Yeah, let me clear my thoughts and I'll come back to you because I think there is a distinction between. Yeah, I'll clear my thoughts and I'll come back and answer your point.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. No problem.
Is it not the time you gotta wait to get it? Or like,
Sometimes I know.
Well, see, I think that it's not going towards the taxable income. So, like, lowering you're possibly putting you in a lower tax bracket. But I'm not positive about that.
Oh, so then that would be like on your W-2, it'll say you make $60,000, and then there's the box where it says taxable income.
Right.
And then that's the one that you would. Okay, all right, that's different. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I know they're doing that with I forget which part of it, but if you're taxed on one portion, damn, I forget which. But anyway, the whatever portion it is, if you're taxed on that, it effectively lowers your income, so it puts you in a lower tax bracket, therefore making you pay less taxes, which is only going to really affect.
I got you. Because there's something on here. It's like the adjustable income or whatever. Yeah, and then that's the one you put in the little box where you then subtract your deductions from. Okay, I got it. That clears
So
it
let me add this. The legal team for my company is very aggressive. There's been no guidelines of how this is going to be rolled out yet at all. So, because as soon as they do, we'll get a Teams call, and they'll be like, "Okay, this is what we have to do." Because I work in HR. This is how we have to handle it. So we've just been waiting, like, okay, well, maybe we're going to get some direction on this. But employees are already asking, so the marketing side of it is already working. Like, yeah, no, it's like, but people have been saying that for the last few months. That like, oh no, you're not going to tax our tips anymore. I was like, slow down. There's nothing in place yet.
The Social Security Office and TurboTax, they're sending out stuff, so they're advertising it. So that's why people are already on top of TikTok.
But it doesn't go into effect until 2026, I thought.
It doesn't, but y'all didn't get it from I got one too. It said from Social Security Office, it was like, oh, we're so excited about this bill that's been passed. I was like, wow, everybody's sucking his dick. And then TurboTax sent one out, and some other company sent one out. Go through y'all email and see. I'll bet y'all got one.
When you say it goes into effect, oh, sorry.
It goes into effect for the tax year 2025. So when we file our taxes next year. Yeah.
But Jeff, if you're TurboTax, why wouldn't you do that?
No, I mean, I get why they would, but it was just the language that they use. Like, we're so excited, like that the big, beautiful bill has been passed. It's like, are y'all on this nigga team? Like, what's going on?
They are. They're bowing down to him.
Is that just? This is what I wanted to ask before y'all get to the Trump celebration.
It is all right.
So, just that means
I told her welcome back.
What was happening? When I filed my taxes
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Sugar, how you doing?
Okay, so you're.
What's your tip?
Firstly, I'm in the room too.
So you're saying, hold on, Brian. I'm sorry. Let me just before it goes somewhere. So you're saying when I file my taxes next May 2026, if I were a tech worker, this thing would be in effect then, correct? Or is it I have to file my tax in 2027 to get this benefit? Can you say that part more?
It goes, so next year when we file our taxes in March or whenever it's due, we'll be doing it in 2026, but of course it'll be for the tax year that's going on now. So
right.
The money we making now is going to be affected. As from what I know.
Okay.
Now I could be wrong, but that's what I read.
Okay, so that the tax part is it's affected immediately, but the cut part doesn't start until 2026. Gotcha.
Right.
Go on mute. Who's off mute? Who's whispering? Shit. Yeah, go on mute.
I will add that people that also work in restaurants and other positions are kind of complaining because don't they share like tips with certain like the bus boys and all that other stuff? Those aren't part of the bill. That I know.
I thought it was all tip. Workers. Somebody needs to go on mute because they got a fucking echo. I don't know. Fix the echo. I thought it was all tip workers.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Maybe Brian can tell us about that part.
We have
That part has
nothing.
always been complicated as far as sharing
Right.
who claims it.
Yeah, but I'm confused. LaVon, you said it was an above the line deduction or below the line deduction?
We get up to $25,000 deduction, and it phases out your income of $150,000. So I think the people in the middle, upper income, who make tips, I think this is going to benefit them. But I think the lower income, who makes like less money, folks who get tips, I don't think it's going to be a benefit for them because they don't have that taxable income.
I don't get how that's gonna work then. Cause that's crazy. Cause typically what happens is if I'm a server and I made $100 in tips tonight, so there's two ways to do it. I'm sorry, there's tip pooling. That's not what I'm talking about. But typically in most of our restaurants, I'm a server. I made $100 in tips. I'm gonna give the host $15 because she did a great job tonight. The busters, I'm gonna give them another $15. So I'm taking home $70, but I only want to be taxed on my 70, not taxed on 100. So it needs to show on them, and so hopefully theirs would be tax free too.
Yeah, I don't know who asked the question, but most restaurants and bars, the waiter tips out.
Yeah, that was it.
Bartender, the busboys. Okay, yeah.
Now, what's going to be interesting is, like, in Oakland, which I don't work in, I live in, they have a lot of places that don't do individual tip anymore. They do a flat percentage, and that percentage is split among with the staff. So I wonder, does that make that tax free also?
Yeah, so most restaurants they do that. Like they and it cuts people from giving money because they'll put the tip in. Like I've been to a few restaurants where I see where they're saying, "Oh, we're adding this gratuity or whatever." Like
exactly.
What? Since when? But then that reduces the amount that the people will give in addition. That hurts the servers, I think. But So yeah, this is the final thing I'll say to the issue of how is it going to work out. These people don't think about that. There's no practicality in this. And they're going to be 46. That's why TurboTax is on it, because TurboTax knows there are going to be 46 different ways that you can do it. And most of the people who would benefit from it, they're not going to be able to figure that out because they doing easy tax. They doing the easy form if they're doing taxes at all. So it's illusion. It's just it's a scheme. It's to make you feel good about something, and then it doesn't even manifest in the way that it should.
Wait, and also you could have filed your taxes for free directly with the IRS. I think the program started last year, or I think it's been in place 2 years. Trump just ended that program.
Yep, and he ended a whole bunch of stuff with TurboTax too.
Yeah. So wait, he ended stuff with TurboTax because TurboTax benefits off the direct free file being eliminated.
What TurboTax does is every year they make the threshold for what you can qualify. I usually work for them seasonally, every year they squeeze it tighter to how many lines you'll be eligible for free. It's down to like 3 lines. Like it basically is not free unless you just have a very, very basic job. Very, very like any deductions, any kind of line by line, you gotta pay.
Yeah, but I think Shannon's right. I think they donated to this campaign, and then he did that rule where you can no longer file for free with IRS, which directly benefits, because then more people will be filing with TurboTax as opposed to filing free with the.
Right, and it directs them because what they do is TurboTax is the biggest scam. If you can do it online, just do it online. But they direct because they advertise it as free, and it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you get this for free, and then you read the fine print, and it's like, yeah, but we're gonna charge you $39 a month. It's never free. People be having like McDonald's jobs and can't get it done for free. So unless you like are like a kid, like and you working like a summer job or something, then it would be free. You have to have the most basic of life.
Yeah.
Well,
On TurboTax, even if you don't, and I'm gonna just say, I advocate for TurboTax because when I had my audit, TurboTax fought for me with the lawyer because I bought the audit thing. They got me the lawyer and everything. So I'm down for TurboTax. But anyway, to your point though, Judge, you're correct because I do, I have deductions and stuff for a bunch of things. And they have increased the cost on how you can do your compound taxes. Yeah. And it's almost as if it seemed to me this year when I did it that the more deductions I have, the more it costs.
Yep.
So yeah, they did do that line shit
Every year.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it.
Yeah.
I've been working for them seasonally for like 4 years. Ever since after the pandemic. Every year, some people I'll talk to again, from last year, they're like, it seems more expensive, or it seems like last time, but they closed the hole. They'll always have a free version, but it's gonna be so skimp, nobody will be able to qualify for it.
But that's why I went to a different one last year. I gotta go look what it's called. But it's just no, it's like. It has the word free in it, but it's not free either. I want to say it might be like free tax file. I'm not at the computer right now, but
see, I know about colors.
It's red, white, and blue. It has like a
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I forget the name of that.
And they poured it over because I've been using TurboTax since like 2005. So I had like hella, records in there because it makes it easier when you can just, it pulls your last year's stuff and all this stuff. But it was able to import all my stuff from TurboTax and everything. And it was way less expensive.
Yeah, and then the one good convenience about TurboTax is almost all companies and jobs work for them. So you can almost just pull your like if you work for any general company, they'll like post it, and you can just pull it, so you don't even have to get the information from your job or whatever.
Correct.
It's already there. You just download
even your
it. It's
bank.
like they already have. Yeah, they already have. I don't know how, but they already have it. It makes it super easy.
In with the people Intuit or whatever they're in, and they do all that.
And they work on your credit report, so it's very convenient, but it never be free.
But
especially if you got a whole bunch of lines.
It's Free Tax USA, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I got a thing from them because I guess they want to get all the TurboTax customers because I got a thing from them about the tax preparation. That's like, this looks kind of, I don't know, I might look into it now.
Look into it because I was happy.
Yeah.
That's funny because I do all of my clients' taxes on Free Tax. My Free Tax USA, like New York has a special link that if you click on that link, you go to like New York Department of Finance free taxes. If you Google that, it'll direct you to like 4 or 5 places where you could do taxes for free if you get paid under $45K a year. And so I do my clients on Free Tax USA all the time. And if they're over the threshold of the free, I just mail it in. Like I'll prepare it on there and I just send it in the mail, which obviously no one wants to like wait to get their refund and stuff, but it's free and you know my clients don't got no money.
And that's how TurboTax be getting you too, because they let people take a loan on their
Yeah.
return, and it's like you just give them top and the bottom.
They got mad at me, I think last year, because they have this thing where you could like, you have to get a bank account through Credit Karma, and then you take a loan out. And if I heard you was black, I'd be like, don't do that. I was like, don't do that, just wait. And they'd be like, why? Just, you don't need that, don't. Just
Yeah, and when you do your taxes electronic, like it
All right, hold
don't really
on.
take that long.
Sorry, hold on. Someone's streaming the room. Someone's streaming.
Oh my God! Somebody's streaming in the room.
Just keep it moving. So what's going on with the taxes?
Pay your
You've been
taxes.
sleeping, you just woke up.
Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes.
Somebody's committing tax evasion.
You better believe you better
Keep
do.
receipts and records, because that tax. I'll just say this about audit. So, in an audit prior to the Trump era, you could deduct business meals, right? I could deduct business meals. Some people still can. I can't anymore, but some people still can. And when I got audited,
What's the difference? Why can't you? Others can?
it's just the way they change because of what I do.
Okay.
Like,
That's
right,
what I thought.
right.
Okay, I got you.
So, so when I got audited, I had all these like meals expenses, and those people told me I had to fill out this spreadsheet because none of their shit is digitized at the IRS. They have literal Excel spreadsheets. So they sent me an Excel spreadsheet, and in the spreadsheet, I had to give the date of the dinner or the lunch or whatever. I had to put who attended. I had to put what we discussed. Do you hear me? Now, the who attended part, that's not hard, because, unfortunately, because I'm somebody, I